Well, there we have it. That was a cool little video there, just again showing that catch animation. So we're waiting for SpaceX to start their stream, and I got my earbud in, listening to NSF for any mission callouts. About T minus 39 minutes from Starship launch. So it should start about a minute ago, so we just have to wait for them to get started. So they are currently performing propellant load, um, which is good. We want to see the fuel going aboard the rocket so we can see launch at 7:25. Yeah, still waiting for a few minutes. So it looks like we have just started propellant load on the booster. We have been doing propellant load on Starship recently, so now we are doing booster. We're finally starting to get some light from the sun at Starbase, which is some good news because whenever I joined at like 6, it is very dark. It's a good image NSF is providing right now. Switch to them really quick and see how that's doing.
This is such a huge problem. Like people putting false information out there. Sometimes they want your clicks. Sometimes they want your Bitcoin wallet or whatever the heck those. I don't know what they're trying to do with those streams. Yeah, but
just trying to get some
as of right now,
footage of Starbase.
Catch is still maybe.
It is still a maybe.
Yeah,
it is still a maybe. Yeah, because there's a human in the loop, and they're going to read all the systems, and the human is going to say, "Yeah, everything's looking good. Let's go for it."
There are some people saying out there that
it's not looking great. We're not going to go for it. But that's going to happen after the launch. It's going to go downrange. It's going to separate the Starship, continue going all the way around the world to the Indian Ocean, and then the booster will get the decision whether it should come back or not.
This is. I really think for all the people that getting confused here, if you see a stream that is official SpaceX on YouTube and has an Elon Musk talking
probably
about Bitcoin,
yeah,
don't listen to that.
Not the right. Yeah. Don't listen to whether or not there's going to be a catch from that stream.
And B, if they would not go for a catch attempt, I would promise you we would report it. Like we are not withholding stuff like that.
As soon as there was any reportable confirmation, conditions, word from SpaceX, whatever it is, we would get it to you.
Yep.
All right.
100%.
That's right. Did Scott actually say that somewhere? I'm going to just trust it because it came from Alex. Scott says this is the most official SpaceX stream on YouTube.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, I saw that comment that I put it in back channel.
We take that.
Oh, geez. But no, we're for real. Like next time we say we're for real, we're going to have to show the cameras and we'll like look at the camera and be like, we're for real. Deep fake this. Now they're going to show the cameras when we're not looking. But
alrighty, well, we have our SpaceX live stream. Yay! So we got this. They just started up. So here we go. It's gonna be some exciting times. Sure, my volume is up. Right, music is a little crazy. Catch that today.
It is 6:54 a.m. in Starbase, Texas, a gorgeous sunrise, and Starship is targeting liftoff in just 30 minutes and 18 seconds from now at 7:25 a.m. Central Time. As you can see, it is a beautiful day in South Texas for the 5th flight test of Starship. Good morning, Star people. I'm Kate Tice.
And I'm Jesse Anderson, and we are joining you live from SpaceX Hawthorne with a big crowd here this morning. It's been roughly 4 months since our last Starship flight, and we've got a big morning ahead of us.
Flight 5, has a few primary objectives and one big first. We may be attempting to catch the Super Heavy booster. The teams at Starbase have been hard at work around the clock, upgrading hardware across the entire tower with focus on the chopsticks, the 2 mechanical arms that will reach out and catch the returning booster. We're only going to attempt the catch if everything on the booster and tower checks out after launch, but either way, excitement is definitely guaranteed.
Definitely. Today's Starship features a completely reworked heat shield with stronger tiles and a secondary layer, which is an extra layer of protection for the ship that will protect from any of the missing, that will help protect if there's any missing or damaged tiles. Now, not only did we replace the entire heat shield with our newest generation of stronger tiles for today's flight, we'll also be flying a handful of aluminum tiles that are there to help the team understand the thermodynamic environment during reentry. If you were with us for Flight 4, you'll know how hard those heat shield tiles worked during the ship's reentry.
Did they ever? As you can see there, they worked incredibly hard. This big heat shield rework that we're talking about promises to increase the likelihood of Starship being better protected during controlled reentry as it heads towards its flip maneuver and landing burn for a soft splashdown on target in the Indian Ocean, just like we did in Flight 4. And we'll have to wait and see. Keep your fingers crossed, but we may have some new views in store for you today as well.
Right, like all test flights, we want to learn as much as possible, and views of Starship during all phases of flight help us to keep improving the vehicle for recovery and reuse.
Now, thinking forward to when Starship is flying regularly, it will take the heaviest payloads to space, land humans on the moon again after more than half a century, and ultimately fly people further into space than ever before. And getting there will require us to rapidly iterate and fly often, which is why we're working so hard to scale operations at Starbase.
Yeah, the faster that we learn now, the faster we can improve and evolve Starship to achieve reliable flights and rapid reusability. We've been designing this vehicle from day one to realize a vision of having an entire city of people on Mars, something we know will take launching millions of pounds of cargo and equipment into space spread across thousands of flights. This future will require many Starships that can fly again and again, and today's flight is a critical step on that path.
So buckle up your seatbelts because here we go. The moon and Mars are not nearly as far in the future as you may think. In fact, we're planning to send Starships to Mars as soon as 2026.
You might be familiar with the Starlink logo, and there you can see it on your screen. It's an iconic representation of the Mars transfer orbit, also called the Home and Transfer Orbit. This is how fundamental Mars is to SpaceX. This transfer window, or a time when the Earth and Mars are the closest to each other, opens every 26 months and is only open for about 2 to 3 months at a time for a vehicle with Starship's power. And it just so happens that the next Mars transfer window opens in 2 years towards the end of 2026.
Yeah, lining up a launch to Mars is similar to how we launched to the International Space Station, where we time launches to match the station's orbit. If we didn't do this, we'd need more propellant and more time to get there.
Exactly. So the first opportunity that we have to fly Starships to Mars, we plan on doing it. These first flights to Mars will be uncrewed and will test the reliability of landing intact. If those landings go well, the first crewed flights will follow soon after.
So it's safe to say it's all happening, and flights like today's are what's going to get us there. Not only have we made several improvements to the Starship flying today based on what we've learned from our last flight, including extensive upgrades to Starship's hardware and software, we've also made improvements to the launch tower and catch mechanisms.
And if you've noticed in some of the live views this morning, our teams have completed stacking the second launch tower, which will be coming online next year. Having 2 operational launch towers paired with ships and boosters rolling off the line in our new Star Factory will allow us to increase our flight cadence and test even more rapidly. And just a few miles away from the 2 towers, things are moving really fast at the heart of Starbase. Star Factory is rapidly coming online, with production teams already using the space as construction continues. The 1 million square foot Star Factory brings many parts of the manufacturing process under one roof for the first time, enabling moving as much system integration work as possible earlier in the build process, with the goal of eventually producing hundreds of Starships a year.
That's crazy. It's such an impressive building. So, for example, teams can assemble an entire nose cone structure of a ship into a single piece and work on its internal systems all in one place. So if you're working on Starship and you have a question about the steps that you're working that happen before or after yours, instead of having to leave the building and go and find the person or the team with the answer, or waste time sending an email and waiting for their response, odds are you're right next to that person or team, and now you're working right alongside them, so you don't have to wait for a response.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot more efficient and faster to communicate. So not only are we rapidly iterating on these spacecraft themselves, but we're also innovating the way that they're made.
It's almost too much to keep up with.
We're also posting
Well, I do
updates
want to
on our
make note
account on X
there
if you
was
can't keep up. That'll help
I'm
you. So if you don't already, make sure.
gonna do this. And I want to make a note that whenever we are, I think it's right before boost back, so right after stage separation, we should be hearing uh, we should be hearing the SpaceX team checking all systems on booster for good catch conditions. So if we hear something like go for catch or go for boost catch, something like that, then that is the news we really want to hear.
Times the thrust of Saturn V, plus the added benefit of full reusability. Starship 2 will be capable of carrying more than 100 tons to orbit, and Starship 3 will be able to lift more than 200 tons to orbit. The amount of mass we're able to launch per rocket is crucial to creating a self-sustaining city on Mars.
Now, to get a sense of how big Starship is, let's start with the average size human, which is about 2 meters high. Towering over our average human is the length of the Millennium Falcon, which comes in at 35 meters. Our Falcon 9 rocket, with the payload fairing attached, is double the size of the Millennium Falcon, standing at 70 meters. And nearly twice the size of that is the fully integrated Starship at 121 meters tall. The ship itself is about 50 meters tall, and the Super Heavy booster alone stands about 71 meters. And even crazier, eventually the ship and booster will get even taller with future design iterations.
Can't imagine it being taller than that. Starship's first stage has a diameter of roughly 2.5 times that of Falcon 9, and with 33 much larger Raptor engines, which you can see there on your screen. Moving up the vehicle, the ship features 6 Raptors, 3 sea-level engines, and 3 vacuum engines, which are optimized to operate in the vacuum of space. The ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface, like the surface of the moon. The ship is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing.
To reach full reusability, ship must survive entry not just once, but over and over again. It took the teams at SpaceX about 3 years to develop the shield on Starship, and development for improvements is still ongoing. The ship's heat shield is composed of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. And naturally, the tiles are designed for rapid reuse with no refurbishment between flights. As we mentioned earlier, today's Starship features a completely reworked heat shield with stronger tiles and a secondary protective layer. This promises to increase our chances of Starship making it through a controlled re-entry and hopefully a little more intact this time around. And in between our first and second stages is our hot stage, which we last saw in action on flights 2, 3, and 4. Speaking of, let's take a trip back in time and talk about that last flight. On June 6th, Starship successfully lifted off at 7:50 a.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas, cleared the launch tower, and went on to accomplish several major milestones and firsts. As you can see there, Super Heavy booster lifted off successfully and completed a full duration ascent burn. I love the view of the sound waves there. Following separation, Super Heavy booster successfully completed its flip maneuver, boost back burn as well to send it toward.
I'm rocking my SpaceX hat today in celebration of what's going to be happening. So some exciting stuff.
Don't have to jettison that adapter in future iterations because it'll be a different design. Now, as you can see here, the booster is returning back to Earth using those hypersonic grid fins to steer it towards a precise landing in the Gulf of Mexico. The footage that we have coming up here, there it is from the buoy. I still remember seeing this on X for the first time, and it was so incredible to see that booster coming down, ending its flight with a soft splashdown 7 minutes and 24 seconds into the flight, and the crowd went wild.
And so did we. Starship's 6 second-stage Raptor engine successfully powered the vehicle to space and placed it on a trajectory that would re-enter less than 1 orbit later over the Indian Ocean. And following a coast phase in space, Starship re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, successfully making it through the phases of peak heating and max aerodynamic pressure, and demonstrating the ability to control the vehicle using its flaps while descending through the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. And of course, Starlink on Starship once again enabled real-time telemetry and live high-definition video throughout every phase of entry, with external cameras providing views all the way to the flight's conclusion.
Flight 4 ended with Starship, with, again, the crowd going bonkers, with Starship igniting its 3 center Raptor engines and executing the first flip maneuver and landing burn that we had seen since our high-altitude campaign. And that was followed by a soft splashdown of the ship in the Indian Ocean, 1 hour and 6 minutes.
Just meaning that there's a skyscraper pretty much coming back to the launch site, and they really care about public safety.
Seeing the landing burn and splashdown was an incredible moment for the entire SpaceX team, and we'll be looking out for many more of these incredible moments today.
All right, so while today's mission profile is similar to Flight 4, we got a couple new tested.
I'm actually seeing some tiles missing aboard Starship right now. Looks like it could be some test tiles again, where there could be instrumentation tools, like instruments that can measure stuff, or it could be just test tiles. We don't think that they would just fall off.
About 2 seconds after that burn ends, we'll jettison the booster's hot stage. As it heads back towards the ground, the booster will either attempt a landing, will have a landing burn, but then will either return to the tower or splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico.
Meanwhile, the ship's engines will remain lit for just under 6 minutes during its ascent phase before shutting down for the coast. The ship will coast for about 40 minutes or so, reaching a peak altitude of about 213 kilometers. After that coast phase, the ship will be attempting a controlled re-entry, including a flip maneuver and landing burn, like we saw in Flight 4, just before splashing down in the Indian Ocean. Now, we say attempting because, again, this is just a test and not.
To make a quick note, I will not be live for the re-entry of Starship. I'll leave a few minutes after booster catch.
On re-entry, which is where those heat shield tiles will be put to the test.
For this flight test, we do not expect to recover any hardware from the ship. With the exception of Falcon, this is no different than what happens to most rockets flying today that are expended, meaning that they fall into the ocean after completing their mission. Eventually, we will return and reuse Super Heavy boosters and Starships as we do today with Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters. And in fact, we've landed Falcon boosters 352 times to date.
Oh, man, I hear you say that number, and that is just wild. I still remember the night, or at least most of the night, that that Falcon landed for the first time, and it still feels like yesterday.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite moments at SpaceX. And returning Super Heavy promises to be an even more impressive sight and a huge moment on the road to rapid reusability.
Yeah, speaking of rapid reusability, future Starship designs will give Super Heavy boosters a lighter weight and integrated hot stage intended for full reusability, which will mitigate the need to jettison the hot stage like we'll do today. Similarly, even though ship recovery is not expected, the telemetry and data we receive all the way to the end is what we're hoping, or excuse me, what we're looking for, and is what will get us to a rapidly reusable Starship of the future.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, just like previous Starship flights, the payload for this mission is the data. All right. Now that we have a handle on today's flight test, let's check in with Dan, who is right in the middle of the action. He's just a few kilometers from Starship on the pad. How's it going, Dan?
It's going great, Jesse. Welcome back to Starbase, everybody. It's been far too long. Little change of scenery this time. Right behind me is the Launch Control Center, where our flight controllers are counting down to our liftoff at 7:25 a.m. Central. We are a little bit later in our window. The main reason is we're working to clear out the range. Have not been tracking any technical issues so far to preclude that launch. So 7:25 a.m. Central, 12:25 UTC is where we're marching down to. As you can see, we're actively loading propellants on board Super Heavy and
T-minus 15 minutes, and this is starting to get very exciting. Or it's going to be very speechless. I mean, very exciting what we're going to see here today.
Out at about 3 minutes and 20 seconds before T0, and then booster just about 30 seconds later. Now, with our startup sequence, it's going to look very similar to what you saw on Flight 4. We already tested it with this booster and its static fire. We're going to see the Raptors start to make fire at about T-minus 3 seconds, and then we'll start them up in 3 different banks. The first inner 13 will fire, and then about a second later, 15 of the outer ring engines, and then about 0.8 of a second after that, those final 5. Another reminder, if we need to hold, we have a built-in spot at T-minus 40 seconds. We can hold for stuff like if we need to finish clearing the range or if any other technical issues pop up, just kind of in the last second. But if there's nothing holding us back, we're going to go right past that and go down to 0. So, I mean, as of right now, we're just under 14 minutes away from liftoff, not working any technical issues. Range is expected to clear. We're just clearing out a few more boats. And as you can see, the weather is perfect. We had 100% go for launch from the weather officer, so that was pretty unprecedented and something we really like to hear. If we're not able to go today, since we are loading prop, it would likely be about 48 hours before our next attempt. But good thing we're going to launch today. Really looking forward to being able to turn around and see it this time, counting down to 7:25 a.m. Central. And I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. I'll send it back to you in Hawthorne.
Thanks, Dan. Now, one of the most exciting objectives for Flight 5 today is attempting to return the booster to the launch site that you see right there, and it will be caught by the tower. We refer to this simply as booster catch.
As you've heard us say, Starship and Super Heavy are designed to be rapidly reused, which is why we've developed a novel way of returning the vehicles that leverages the same hardware we use for stacking ahead of flight.
Right now, when we recover our Falcon boosters, they either return to a separate landing zone on land or to a drone ship in the ocean, both of which require time to transport the vehicle back to the launch site. In order for us to achieve truly rapid reusability, we need a quicker turnaround. And you can't get much faster than returning the launch vehicle right back to the launch site where it needs to be in order to launch again.
For today's booster catch attempt, while there are thousands of criteria that need to be met, there are 3 primary gates that will be in play. In order to proceed, automated checks have to indicate we have a healthy booster and a healthy tower, and the flight director must issue a manual command, which is informed by manual checks from the flight control team. If this command is not sent prior to the completion of the boost back burn, or if automated health checks show unacceptable conditions with Super Heavy or the tower, the booster will default to a trajectory that takes it to a landing burn and soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Now, thinking to the future when we're operational, after a booster returns to the launch tower, it will be inspected and reloaded with propellants and then ready to launch another ship to orbit. For today's test, however, we're only...
So at about T-minus 2 minutes, 50 seconds, we will have propellant load complete. And at T-minus 40 seconds, we have an optional hold point. And yeah.
Now, as always, we accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public and our team. So
we have a boat at the launch site now, which we need to get out of the area. We've experienced this a couple times before, but we need to get this boat out of the area so we can have a launch. And I'm sure they will handle that, Coast Guard or whoever will handle that very well.
You can't forget what else it will generate.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I mean, I was going to say a sonic boom.
Oh, I was going to say excitement, but that's a really good reminder.
Now, if we do make it to a catch attempt today, Super Heavy may generate a sonic boom upon its return.
Wow. Just wow. SpaceX has hit 1 million views on their Starship Flight 5 broadcast. This is more than any Starship launch ever. So there's 1 million people out there watching Starship launch.
In those surrounding areas of a sonic boom is the brief noise, with variables like weather and distance impacting if or how the sonic boom is heard. Here's a brief look at how these sonic booms look and sound on Falcon.
T-minus 10 minutes from launch. This is where it starts getting exciting. If anywhere, this is where it gets exciting.
Booster landing deployed.
Launch notification. A little little bit early.
Sonic boom is great for us.
That's just T-minus 20. We still got about T-minus 30.
Broke the sound barrier.
9 seconds. T-minus 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
Type 2 separation confirmed.
Just heard the 2 sonic booms here in the room.
Booster landing confirmed.
As our test flights continue, we plan to demonstrate ship-to-ship propellant transfer, which will be important in preparation for Starship taking astronauts to the moon as part of NASA's Artemis program. SpaceX will perform one uncrewed demonstration flight before NASA's Artemis 3 mission, which will be the first human surface expedition since 1972. Also, in preparation for missions to the moon and Mars, we're gaining tons of knowledge from our human spaceflight missions, including free flyer flights like our recent commercial astronaut mission, Polaris Dawn.
Polaris Dawn was the first of up to 3 missions in the Polaris program, which is demonstrating new technologies, conducting extensive research, and will culminate in a flight of Starship with humans on board.
After nearly 5 days in orbit, Dragon and the 4-person Polaris Dawn crew safely splashed down on September 15th off the coast of Florida, completing the first human spaceflight mission of the Polaris program. The Polaris Dawn crew performed some incredible firsts during their mission. Dragon and the crew reached 1,408.1 kilometers, the highest Earth orbit ever flown, and the farthest humans have been from our planet since the Apollo program.
The crew also performed the first ever commercial EVA, or extravehicular activity. And as you can see there, they were wearing the new EVA suits that we developed here in-house. This was an incredible moment to see Jared and then later Sarah emerge and perform this EVA with Earth behind. Now, in addition to this incredible spacewalk, they also conducted about 36 research studies and experiments from 31 partner institutions, including NASA. And in addition to all of that, they also tested Starlink laser-based communications in space. The data gathered from Polaris Dawn missions is invaluable, much like the data that we're going to see after today's flight test of Starship. So we're coming down to T-minus about 7 minutes. Let's check in with Dan.
7 minutes from launch.
Hey, thanks, Kate. So yeah, we're right at about 7 minutes away from launch. The main thing we are still working is that range clear. Again, we have to make sure boats, airspace, everything is cleared out of the way for our ascent corridor, basically the Gulf of Mexico, where we're launching through before we can actually launch. And so we're working on clearing out just a few more boats. We do have a window, remember. So if we end up holding at like a T-minus 40 seconds, we can hold for several minutes.
SpaceX is working on clearing the range of any boats and people that might be in the danger areas. Just under 6 minutes. Yes, that's just crazy sometimes. Very exciting stuff that we're gonna see here. NSF is saying.
We'd much rather find.
NSF is saying that if you gotta crowd around the TV, you gotta grab your snacks and water, but quick. We're under T-minus 5 minutes.
As possible. We accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public or our team. So that is to say, this is only the 5th of many future flight tests of Starship before it becomes fully operational.
You might remember the Starlink panels that are incorporated into Starship, and
So Starship is the largest and most powerful rocket in the world. And it is the most powerful and largest rocket in history as well. We're gonna catch the booster out of midair. Not while it's going really fast. We're gonna have those 3 inner engines slow it down enough to where we can slowly catch the booster. And I'll go ahead and play that catch animation for you. Just one last time before we get that started. And while I was playing that video, we have hit under T-minus 3 minutes. We have about T-minus 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, and we have a fully loaded Starship and booster. This is very exciting.
From launch, we were hearing like there was a pretty good chance we were going to hold at T-minus 40 seconds, but surprise, now it sounds like we might not be. So we are just a little over 2 minutes away, so a couple more things going to be happening. We did just close out our propellant load on the ship and the booster, so 10 million pounds of propellant on that vehicle on the pad here at Starbase, getting ready to go. We're going to start clearing out all of the lines that are basically pushing all of that propellant to the vehicles. Those get cleaned out or cleared out on the ground before we lift off. We're doing some final checks on the vehicle. The thrust vector.
Yeah, so far so good. We currently don't expect a hold at T-minus 40 seconds, and all boats are out of the range area, and we are currently go for launch.
We are starting to hear that it looks like the range is going to be clear at our liftoff time of 7:25 a.m. Central, 12:25 UTC. So that puts us 1 minute, 20 seconds away from launch. Still not tracking any technical issues. That range clear is the only thing that's been potentially poking at our launch. So I'm going to start to quiet down. We'll hear our flight director for today, Tristan Pierce.
T-minus 1 minute. We have 1 minute till the most exciting launch of a rocket we might ever see. It's going to be very exciting if SpaceX goes with the catch of the booster. It will be history making. There is no hold. We are go for launch. I repeat, we are go for launch.
First go for launch.
Go for launch. There we go. T-minus 15 seconds about.
Best words you could possibly hear, 20 seconds away from liftoff.
T-minus 15 seconds counting. Here we go. T-minus 10 seconds. Water suppression systems activated.
T-minus 5, 4, 3,
Water dilute.
2, 1.
Liftoff. And we have liftoff. Amazing views. It never gets old seeing Starship launch.
Vehicles pushing down
I am
range.
blowing my eardrum out in my little microphone. But look at this. We have just seen liftoff of Starship for the 5th time. We currently have all engines lit, I believe. Yes, we do. We have all engines lit. And we are about 1 kilometer above the surface now, about 2 kilometers above the surface.
30 seconds into the flight, the rumble's just starting to reach us here at launch control.
Very loud. Look at that. That never.
Booster and ship, avionics power, telemetry nominal.
33 Raptor engines.
We have all engines online. This is the first time since Flight 3, I believe.
Maximum aerodynamic pressure, the most stress the vehicle's going to see on the way uphill.
We are starting to throttle down for max Q.
All right, our next major milestone coming up. It's going to be hot staging. We're going to see the engines ignite on ship to push it away from the booster.
It's going to be very exciting stuff. We are very excited to see this happen. 33 healthy engines on Starship's booster. Very exciting. This is very good for a catch attempt. 30 kilometers.
All right, so hot staging is going to be the next thing coming up. First, we're going to see the booster's engines start to shut down.
Pretty soon, we will start to see these engines gradually shut down, and then we will have hot staging.
We're going to do what's called most engines cut off instead of main engine cut off, because 3 are going to keep going, and then we're going to see the engines on ship ignite. Right now, the tower team is doing their go, no go.
That was a wonderful view of the Starship. Beautiful. So you should be seeing stage separation here any moment.
We might hear some really good words soon, too. All right. Can still see it up behind me. That is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life. Coming up on hot staging next.
Starting to have hot staging.
Ship engines
there's most engines cut off.
Go, no go.
Stage separation. Booster
stage separation. Hot stage separation confirmed.
This is the moment where they make the decision. This is the exciting part.
Ship under its own power. I'm seeing 6 out of 6 Raptors lit. Hopefully, I got a booster on the way back to me. I'm going to send it to you guys in Hawthorne.
Oh man, that was absolutely incredible. I loved how the crowd crowd here in Hawthorne all went ooh at that first view of the blue flames from the booster. As you can see there, first stage currently performing, or excuse me, is now making its way back to the launch site. Again, we are the booster and the tower are both performing automated checks to make sure we are go for the booster to return to the launch pad for that catch. And once those are complete, the flight director
We'll go for booster catch.
We did hear that the tower is go for catch, so that was one of the big criteria we were looking for.
I can't believe this happened.
We'll wait to hear that the
3 minutes.
We'll wait to hear that the go for catch has been sent.
Oh, this is going to be very exciting.
Beautiful view here from the ship.
What is it?
And so.
Ooh, that is weird. I almost lost my stream. Switch over to NSFs really quick. Just because I want views of a booster right now. Actually, I'm not sure if that's booster, but oh, that's going to be very exciting. Booster has just approached 90 kilometers, and we will be seeing a booster catch. This is going to be very exciting. I mean, I can't believe it. There's our hot staging ring. Where is that hot? Yep, you can see there's a little black dot right there. That bright dot. That is our hot staging ring. Oh, this is exciting. Just a little over 50 kilometers. We are about 2 minutes from catch. Ah, yes, sonic booms. Wow. You can still see that hot staging ring a little bit. It just went off camera. Wow. This is very exciting stuff. I'm gonna be lost for words if this actually happens. Wow. Wow. Look at that. Views, look at these views. It is re-entering the atmosphere. 10 kilometers. This is real. We are going for booster catch right now. 6 kilometers. We're go for booster. We're go. We are go. This landing burn will be happening any moment now. Here we go. Oh, look at this. Landing burn. Landing burn. Landing burn. Sonic booms. There's our sonic booms. Okay, there's the tower. Okay. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. They did it. They did it. Oh. Oh my gosh. There's no way they just did that. There's no way. Wow. First try. I mean, sure, we have a fire at the bottom, but we just caught a booster. Wow. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this. Wow. Wow. This is they got this first try. They have never attempted this before. First try we caught like, I'm wondering if this is real right now. Wow. What a successful booster catch. Wow. I mean, we are a little bit charred and we have a fire, but I mean, this is first attempt. You can see that fire, but this is a very good thing. This didn't get caught on the grid fence or anything. This got caught on the landing pins. Wow. So that's just where methane could be leaking and stuff. That's just where methane is leaking and kind of catching fire. Wow. I am speechless. 2 million people just saw the booster get caught. Exciting. Wow. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, well, maybe fast forward because where we're at now, look at this. Wow. We can see those flames decreasing as they're saying, or you might not hear them, but wow. Pause this and line it up with my other computer. I did not see SpaceX catching the booster. This is very exciting. Look at this. Wow. It is on the landing pins. This provides rapid reusability for Starship, and this is very exciting stuff. Wow. Wow. That was unreal what we just saw. Wha Look at this picture. This is crazy. Yeah, like if you like what NSF just said, if you weren't watching the stream, you're like, oh dang, SpaceX is already hit. They're already gonna launch. They're stacking the new booster. Oh, they caught this booster out of midair. Wow. Wow. I thought SpaceX was gonna miss this. I thought, honestly, to be honest, I thought something was gonna go wrong and they wouldn't catch it. No, it's just exciting. We knew we were go for booster catch, really, when we saw all the engines successfully online when we were launching and everything. Wow. We can see that the fire is out. There's just a oh, I broke it. No. Okay, we're back. We have the tiniest bit of fire, but that's really nothing compared to what we had. Wow, can't believe this. It looks like we do have our fire suppression system activated, though. Wow. Yeah, by the way, there's a ship in orbit. Now, we don't care about that ship. We care about what SpaceX just did. We care that SpaceX just caught a rocket out of midair. It's like we have a bit of damage there, so we're wondering if it happened during flyback or during the catch. Who cares about little damage? We had a very successful booster catch. Wow. Look at that view. Look at that view. It is on the pins. Wow. In case you didn't believe that SpaceX got it, then wow. Wow. Checking my notifications. SF has updated their flight to a successful catch. Wow. Wow. Can't believe that. Wow. One of the most exciting things I've ever seen. This is crazy. As I just said, did that landing seem easy? That wasn't that hard to do. What it was like. SpaceX was like, "Oh, this is nothing. We're just catching a rocket out of midair." Wow. Just seeing that they wouldn't, like, slow down enough or something, and it would just go crashing into the pad. but that is not the case. Wow. Wow. You heard and saw those sonic booms, it was crazy. Rocking this wonderful SpaceX app to celebrate this day. This is history right here. This is very exciting. Wow. Perfect launch conditions. This is very exciting. Alright, well, I'm gonna call my stream there. So, very exciting what we saw SpaceX do. I know this is a long stream, it was an hour, but what SpaceX did today made history. Catching a booster out of midair was the most exciting thing I've ever seen. I'll see you later. I will make a video and probably a short over this. This is very exciting.